You're watching ABC 7 News at 7.
As the president has stated on numerous occasions, he did nothing wrong. There are no charges against him in this. And just because Michael Cohen made a plea deal doesn't mean that that implicates the president on anything.
Manafort found guilty on 8 charges. Cohen takes a plea deal. Where does this leave the president? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have that story and more coming up, but first, our top stories at 7. Another case of alleged domestic abuse leads to murder. Early this morning, Northport police received a call from a home along Tamiami Trail near South Biscayne Drive. When they arrived on the scene, they found the body of 41-year-old Erica White. The cause of death is not being released. A suspect is in custody, and neighbors say this is not the first time law enforcement has been called to the home.
What went through my mind first thing is, oh my God, he had to harm her. He had to hurt her, because all the times, you know, the officer's been here. I believe she was calling for help, but she wasn't getting the help that she needed.
Police tell ABC 7 that they followed every protocol every time an officer responded to the home. Renewed concern about West Nile virus in Manatee County. An advisory is now in effect. One case of West Nile has been confirmed in the area. There's concern that more people may become ill. For tips on how to protect yourself, visit our website at mysuncoast.com. A no swim advisory has been lifted at Siesta Key Beach. However, the advisory is still in effect for 4 other Sarasota County beaches because of unsafe levels of bacteria in the water. That includes Lido Beach, Brohard Beach, Venice Pier Beach, Siesta Beach, and Longboat Key Beach. For now, the beaches will remain open, but the county says it doesn't recommend going in the water. As we continue the deal with red tide, Governor Rick Scott is offering a small business interest-free loan for 6 months. The only problem is a lot of business owners who own and operate by themselves are learning they don't qualify.
There's no hours to cut when you're a one-person show. You can't, how do you scale back for bad times?
When tragedy strikes, it's not easy to get government money. This is going to take a toll probably as big as any of the major hurricanes that we've had.
To qualify, small businesses must have between 2 and 100 employees and be able to demonstrate economic or physical damage as a result of red tide. For more information, just visit our website at mysuncoast.com. And now let's head over to ABC 7's chief meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the First Alert forecast. Bob, a little improvement today in our air quality.
Yeah, the red tide smell, at least, has not penetrated too far inland today. It was a little less, too. That was because of an easterly wind throughout most of the morning. We do have the sea breeze, though, that then generates that smell to move a little bit further inland. But that sea breeze did not make it all the way into the central portion of the viewing area. Now, it is a very active day today with thunderstorms around, lots of lightning. This is a pattern that we normally expect during the summer months that really hasn't been here all summer long. It will be here over the weekend, so take that to heart. Now, we are going to see the possibility of some rough weather in terms of heavy rainfall, too. We already saw that in places like Palmetto, as well as into Ellington near Parrish. It has since moved on, but we have noticed that there are still some lightning strikes occurring even outside that heavy rainfall, so don't be fooled. If you can still hear the thunder, you're still close enough to get hit. Holmes Beach right now, some pretty heavy weather heading off toward Anna Maria, the north end, and that's where it is heavy. But the strongest cell by far has moved on out of Parrish, and now it's kind of converging. 2 outflow boundaries meeting right there in the middle of Tampa Bay, where there's a special marine warning. This is heading off to the west toward Egmont Key here, and right along the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. So if you have any trip planned along the bridge there, if you can delay it for a half hour or so. And then this line, we talked about it earlier at the 6 o'clock news. It is moving northwest, and we said Punta Gorda was going to get it, and they certainly are right now. And look out as we move into Port Charlotte and Northport. It could make it all the way there because there is a southeast and northwest push here with these storms. We do expect some evening storms to fire up along the coast, too, later on tonight. We'll have more on all that a little bit later. Stay up to date with red tide. I just posted a red tide video on our app, our ABC 7 Weather Alert app, the First Alert Weather app. You want to be downloading that for the weekend as well. Alan?
Thanks, Bob. This is it. We are 4 days away from knowing which Democrat will face which Republican in the race for governor. The latest polls are all over the place. Most show former Congresswoman Gwen Graham and former Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine neck and neck. They also show Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum surging. Gillum is barnstorming across Florida, and he joins us now in the studio. Well, what about this, Mayor? Up until now, the race has really been between Gwen Graham, Phil Levine, Jeff Green, but in the last few days and weeks, you have really surged in the polls. It really started with Bernie Sanders coming to Florida to campaign with you. What do you attribute this to?
Well, I tell you, so it was between those other candidates, largely because they were putting a lot of money out there and on television. I think we spent less than 3 or 4 million maybe on television compared to 90 million combined by my opponents on television. So a lot of voters didn't know who I was, didn't know that I was a contender in this race. And now that they're getting to know, and now that we are closer to the point of decision day, people are taking a good hard look and they're deciding that I'm the candidate that they want to represent them in November.
You know, in many cases, the other candidates are wealthy themselves, and they could just put all the money they want in the race. I know that in terms of Gwen Graham, her dad put another $500,000 in the race yesterday, but you have some big money people behind you too.
Yeah.
Tom Steyer, who people will know in terms of doing all those ads calling for the impeachment of the president, and George Soros. Yes. How does that money, over $600,000, help in the last few days of this campaign?
Well, it's important and critical to us in these final days. It is going to allow us to be on television in places where a lot of undecided voters still are. I mean, I literally spent 18 months retailing my way across the state of Florida. No ads, no advertisement, going into places sight unseen and people meeting me for the first time. I'm so honored that so many people have really given me a shot in this race. I've tried to have our voters not have to compromise on quality. I've got more years of public policy making experience than all 4 of my opponents combined. We're the most qualified Democrat competing for the Democratic nomination, and I believe we offer the best chance in November. If a Democrat is going to win, it has to be a nominee who has the ability to pull more black voters, more brown voters, more younger voters, more poorer voters to the poll, and I trust my chances at being able to do that over any Democrat in this race, which is why I think voters are now turning our direction.
You know, I saw a picture in the Tampa Bay Times the other day that kind of was very interesting. The NAACP held a candidates forum last week, I believe, and you were the only candidate to show up there. Are Democrats doing enough to appeal to the minority community? Because we've done a lot of shows here talking about there is an issue in terms of voter turnout. Yes. And if you remember Charles Barkley saying after the Alabama Senate race that Democrats can no longer take the African American vote for granted.
That's right. Well, I tell you, it was a very, very disappointing showing the other day. In fact, I believe 4 of the 5 of us had confirmed to be at that NAACP hosted forum. It was the NAACP, the League of Women Voters, the Junior League of Hillsborough County. And I kept my word because I've said all along that if you want to be governor of the state of Florida, you have to be governor for all the state of Florida. That means you've got to go some places where you may not always feel comfortable. I certainly have. We kicked off our Bring It Home bus tour in Pensacola, Florida, then went down to Panama City, and then over to Marianna, Florida, and all the way across. We believe that we've got to take every voter seriously. And if the Democrats fail to do that, we will once again reap another lost election. And I just refuse to do that.
You know, I know job number 1 here is actually winning the Democratic nomination here, but this is a heavily Republican area here. And if there was one thing that you could say to the Republicans who are watching this right now, what would that be? Well,
it would be, first of all, I want them to vote their own self-interest. If they just voted their own self-interest, they would know that voting for me as a Democrat in November will be in the best interest of them and for the state of Florida.
Why?
We'll expand Medicaid to over 700,000 of those medically needy people in this state. Right now, those of us who are insured are largely paying those bills at the emergency room, which is the most inefficient and most expensive form of care. If you want a governor who's going to accept high-speed rail money when it comes from Washington, D.C., to ensure that we're able to connect the largest growing and fastest growing growing corridors of this state, and someone who's not going to vote ideologically on that, but on what is in the best interest of the people of the state of Florida, then I'm their choice. If they want a governor who is going to do, I believe, what is in the best interest of all the people of this state, then I'm sure they'll choose me.
All right, we have to take a quick break. We'll be back with Democratic gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum in a moment.
I'll be right back.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
A policeman stopped.
Yeah, it was the lady parked next to me.
I called my wife.
My dad got up in the middle of the night.
My neighbor helped me out.
I called a tow truck.
Anyone can jumpstart your car, but for free installation and $10 off Duracell Ultra car batteries, there's no one like Batteries Plus bulbs.
Yeah, I'll install it myself.
I'd like you to do it.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
When you are home alone, an emergency can become a tragedy. However, with any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
at home,
Help! I've fallen and I can't get up.
and on the go.
Help! I've fallen in the park and I can't get up.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-518-0221. That's 1-800-518-0221. Call now, 1-800-518-0221. For a free brochure, call 1-800-518-0221.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
Welcome back. We are talking with Democratic gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum. Mayor, I wanted to get to one issue that you've been talking about on the campaign trail, and it's a national issue, and it involves ICE. Yeah. Obviously, we've been dealing with the family separations along the border, and you have joined the chorus in the progressive community calling for getting rid of ICE and coming up with something else. And I have 2 questions there. Number one, that may work in a Democratic primary, but when you're talking about the general election and trying to win over votes from independents and moderate Democrats, is that really a winning issue, at least in Florida?
Well, let me just say, first of all, I believe in borders, right? I believe in the laws around that. ICE is a relatively new advent. A lot of people think it's existed forever. It didn't. It came along after 9/11, and this president has completely tainted ICE. It has made it a family separation agency, going after mothers and fathers and separating babies from their parents. What I have advocated for is a more humane policy to put it under the Department of Justice, the legal arm of the United States government, stand up a department that is intended to do the right thing, which is to keep our borders safe and to ensure that we have a humane immigration policy here in the state of Florida
isn't the problem,
and in the country.
Isn't the problem here not the the agency itself, but the administration and its policy?
Well, it is now the agency, because this agency is now being looked at broadly in not only the U.S. sense, but in the global sense as a family separation force. That is how this administration is using it. And again, we're not talking about tearing down and having no borders. We're talking about how do we stand up an agency that actually does what it is intended to do, which is to ensure to border control here and to have a humane policy around it. And most importantly, we deserve a federal government that's going to do its job. We send people to Congress, our members of Congress, into the United States Senate to do a job. And part of that job is keeping our border and our country safe. And in my opinion, that means comprehensive immigration reform for 20 million people who are here in this country, undocumented, who deserve some settlement to their status.
But here's the question, from just a purely political, strategic point of view. ICE is not something that you're going to really have to deal with as governor here, so why even get into it, considering the fact that it's just one of those hot-button issues that kind of divides Republicans and Democrats going into a fall election?
Well, I think that it is important that the governor of the state of Florida, one of the most diverse states in the country, has a position on what it means to keep our state safe. We don't think it makes it safer for us to push people who are here in this state undocumented back into the shadows. It is not good for the state of Florida. It is not good for the economy of the state of Florida. It is not good for the people of the state of Florida. And so it's important that we compel on Washington to do their job, which is to see to a immigration policy in this country that, again, keeps us safe and also secures our borders.
Let me ask you about one more issue. That's something that we've been really dealing with here on the Suncoast. I don't know if you caught a whiff when you were walking into the station, but the rot of dead fish from red tide is probably worse this year than any time in recent memory. There's a lot of talk about what is responsible for it, whether it's pesticides and phosphate, whether it is the green slime from Lake Okeechobee here. Has state policy contributed to the issue that we're dealing with right now?
Sure it has. I mean, the first thing that Governor Rick Scott did when he came into office is he took the protection out of the Department of Environmental Protection. He has handed over in a gift-wrapped box to the largest polluters in this state the ability to run roughshod over our environment. I believe that we deserve a governor who's going to force our largest polluters to do right by the environment. We're going to ensure that we hold sugar accountable and Big Ag accountable for their contribution to the problem. We're also going to have to convene a much more comprehensive conversation about the future of growth and development in the state of Florida. We can't allow for all the growth that anybody wants to take place on septic tanks, which are reducing nitrates and other toxins into our groundwater, which is contributing to part of this problem. We can't allow for the kind of rampant overgrowth north of Lake Okeechobee, which again is contributing to much of the runoff into Lake Okeechobee, and then these discharges, when they take place, are creating the kind of blue-green algae bloom that we see that is corroding our ecosystem, taking out viable sea life and degrading the quality of life for all of us here in the state of Florida.
We have to leave it here, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
4 days until the primary.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Good luck, Mayor. Our conversation continues right after we get a check with on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrop.
Thanks, Alan. We are looking at red tide, the latest report from the FWC right now, coming out just a couple of hours ago. And this is the full-blown report. Still 145 miles of our coastline experiencing some form of red tide. And it's heaviest, as you can see, from Sarasota County into southern portions of Manatee County at this time. The counts, the cell count per liter, 1 million or above that in some cases reported in some areas along the Suncoast. Now, some specific areas are showing that high concentration right there near Minnesota Key, also up into Venice, although lesser amounts in some areas in between there, up toward Nokomis. And then further north, we go into Sarasota. The high concentrations being felt, at least tested, near Big Pass, New Pass, stretching all the way to the Ringling Bridge there, showing up as some low concentrations well into the bay. And then along Longboat Key, some areas of high concentrations. One thing to note here, it's spreading now northward, at least near the coastline, all the way up into Pinellas County. And we're showing up in some medium concentrations right there just to the east and northeast of Egmont Key. So it's around the bay, mainly west of the state road, actually Interstate I-275, the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, and it's even showing up near the mouth of the Manatee at this point. And there's also a brown tide, if you will, brown algae that has formed. That's non-harmful, but what it does, it offers some nutrients to the red tide. So this is going to stick around a while, at least for another week, and probably much longer. But we'll keep an eye on it for you. Obviously, the counties that are doing a little bit better over the past week are Charlotte County. That's a good sign. Greater than 25% lower there in the sampling they've taken. Sarasota also showing up in some positive news there, 5 to 25% lower. And then also in the Lee County, pretty much unchanged there. But unfortunately, Manatee County waters and up to Pinellas County waters showing a 5 to 25% greater increase in that red tide. Well, we are having an increase in rain now, too, due to the fact we're seeing more of an east to southeasterly wind flow butting up against the sea breeze, and periodic showers and storms have been moving through parts of the Sun Coast, and that rain's still around. Also some lightning, dangerous lightning, especially near Punta Gorda. I mentioned the East Coast breeze making it all the way over to the West Coast. You can see that intense line of thunderstorms. This is typical, too, of Florida during the summer. Normally we see this pretty much every day. We haven't this summer, not at all. And the first round of storms really fired up right there now into Tampa Bay, stretching out toward Egmont Key. This is, although weakening, still very strong. Intense lightning there. Light rain now from Parrish down into Lorraine, Tatum, Lakewood Ranch, getting some light rainfall. One bolt has just showed up, bolt from the blue, basically from another storm nearby, just to the east of Lakewood Ranch Boulevard. And we have some bigger storms down south into Punta Gorda. This is spreading toward Northport and Englewood, starting to get some gust front storms out ahead of it already, with some pretty heavy rainfall in Punta Gorda. For boaters, winds will be basically out of the southeast, a little bit of a southwest flow later on in the afternoon. Seas will be running 2 feet or less. 7-day forecast, and we're in the thick of it. Afternoon showers and storms throughout the weekend. Some of that will contain some heavy rain, and that stays with us throughout most of the work week next week. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
Planning a Carnival Fantasy Cruise out of Mobile? Then check out the park and cruise packages at the luxurious Battle House and Renaissance Riverview Plaza hotels. Stay at the Battle House for $169 per night, or the Riverview Plaza for just $149 per night, and leave your car for the duration of your cruise. Includes transportation to and from the cruise terminal. If you're cruising out of Mobile, come stay with us. Call 1-800-MARRIOTT or visit Marriott.com now.
It's hard to see when you're outside at night. It's time for the Atomic Beam Sunblast, the new solar-powered light that's super bright. Atomic Beam Sunblast lets you add a light anywhere, and the atomic solar panels charge the built-in lithium-ion battery quickly. Then the 180-degree motion sensor turns on the light when you get near and automatically turns off when you disappear. Look, here's a best-selling outdoor solar light, and here's the super bright Atomic Beam Sunblast. Get the super bright Atomic Beam Sunblast for only $19.99. But wait, call right now and you can double your order and get a second Sunblast, plus our best-selling Atomic Beam Flashlight. Just pay a separate fee. That's 2 Atomic Beam Sunblasts and the Atomic Beam Flashlight. Call now.
Call 1-800-431-6640. That's 1-800-431-6640. Or visit mysunblast.com. So call 1-800-431-6640. Order now.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash.
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
What could be treasure?
Pal's my most advanced android.
This is awesome.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Welcome back. Tonight, potential new legal trouble for President Trump. The president's longtime personal attorney, Michael Cohen, pled guilty to campaign finance violations this week. Now, as ABC's Kenneth Moten reports, we are learning about the immunity deals given to people close to the president.
President Trump's longtime fixer walked out of court in New York after pleading guilty to a total of 8 felony charges, 2 campaign finance counts, 1 for giving a false statement to a bank, and 5 counts of tax evasion. 11 days before the election, Cohen paid off porn star Stormy Daniels, who claimed she had a one-night affair with Trump in 2006. The president initially said he didn't know about that payment. Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? But later, the White House saying he did know.
Mr. Cohen sought reimbursement for that money by submitting invoices to the candidate's company, which were untrue and false.
Cohen was also involved in the payoff of former Playboy playmate Karen McDougal. Cohen telling judges he was working in coordination and at the direction of a candidate for federal office. And in Virginia, a jury found President Trump's former campaign chairman Paul Manafort guilty on 5 counts of tax evasion, 1 count of failing to report a foreign bank account, and 2 counts of bank fraud. They were unable to reach a verdict on 10 other counts, and the judge declared a mistrial on those 10 counts. Manafort showed no emotion as the verdict was read, President Trump reacting to the verdict Tuesday night.
It doesn't involve me, but I still feel, it's a very sad thing that happens. This has nothing to do with Russian collusion.
Cohen is now out of jail on bond and still waiting for sentencing. Paul Manafort has another federal trial starting next month. Emily Rao, ABC News, Washington.
When we return live at the Trapezoid, the political correspondent for the Tampa Bay Times, William March, the Manatee Democratic Chairwoman Cheryl Wilson, and Frank Patty of the Sarasota Republican Party will be right back.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
If you think it's hot outside, just wait until you see even hotter savings inside. Only at Rugs As Art Hot Summer Savings Sale event will you find the lowest prices on a vast selection of stunning rugs, furniture accents, and accessories. This special event only happens once a year, so hurry in before the best selections are gone. The Hot Summer Savings event ends soon, so don't miss out on the best prices ever. Rugs As Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call
800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now,
800-604-0398.
or visit SoClean.com today.
You know, fortunately, this was my first job out of college, so I was able to come back home and work in my hometown. I wore two hats. I was sports director and I was a news anchor. I did that for a few years and then decided to go full-time into news. Well, I love our team here at ABC7. We have a great mix, and it really is a great mix of personalities, of experience that meshes really well into a really strong team. I'm Scott Dennis, and I'm here for you.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
You're watching ABC 7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back, everyone. At the risk of being repetitive, it's being described as the worst week so far for President Trump and his presidency. His former campaign chair, Paul Manafort, was found guilty on 8 counts of tax crimes. His former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, pled guilty to 8 federal charges, including campaign finance violations, claiming in open court the president directed him to illegally pay off a porn star. And now the longtime chief financial officer of the Trump Organization is being granted immunity from prosecution. And as we all know, it's never good when the bookkeeper flips. Joining us for more, our political correspondent for the Tampa Bay Times, William March, Manatee Democratic Chairwoman Cheryl Wilson, and Frank Patti of the Sarasota Republican Party. And we're going to get to the president and his week in one second, but I want to start with the governor's race, because we have one barnstorm of a Democratic and Republican primary. And Wendy, let me start with you, because I can't make sense of the polls. Some polls, including one that Mayor Gillum is showing off, has him in the lead. Other polls have Gwen Graham up by 9 points. Others have Phil Levine back a point. What are we to make of this?
Well, when I see stuff like this, Alan, what I do is I look at the rolling averages. Like Real Clear Politics, for example, gives you an average of polls. That's really a little bit better indication than any one. In the Republican race, we had a couple of what could be, in my opinion, are outlier polls.
Meaning what?
Meaning that they show very different results from others done before and after them. Now, there haven't been many done since those two, so we can't say for certain, but they look a whole lot like outliers.
So let's talk about what that means, because since President Trump was in Tampa a few weeks ago, Ron DeSantis bolted out to a pretty considerable lead.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then at some point in the last couple of days, you had other polls showing that Adam Putnam was within 1 or 2 points.
And those are the two that I am calling, thinking they probably are going to turn out to be outliers. One was done by Florida Atlantic University. It had a very, very small sample. The other done by Survey USA. And they showed Putnam and DeSantis neck and neck. Since then, another one has gone back to the way the polls were looking previously, with DeSantis with a double-digit lead. The upshot is the polling average shows DeSantis up about 7 points.
Frank, let me get your reaction to this, because the president's endorsement of Ron DeSantis really moved the base. But you and I both know that a lot of folks in the Republican hierarchy are really for Adam Putnam because he's been around so much longer. Have you gotten any kind of sense of where the momentum is in the days and weeks since the president was here?
I would say the momentum had started out towards DeSantis. I think it's been moving back to Putnam, and that's why it's going to be so tight. Putnam's beginning out more with the grassroots. He's here more in Florida. He's going to the clubs. He's holding breakfast and luncheons and so on to get them out. Now, You may say at each of these things there's only maybe 100 people or so. They get out to vote. These are the people on the phone. These are the people who knock on doors. These are the people who go out with signs and everything else. So he's getting the grassroots, and I think that may be moving him.
Sure. What about on the Democratic side? As I indicated, the polls there are all over the place here. We had Mayor Gillum in our area on the Suncoast. I know he paid you a visit today. He paid us a visit. And the polls do have him surging. And he's getting a considerable infusion of money from Tom Steyer and George Soros. So he's going to be getting on the air in markets around Florida, which he has until now not been able to afford to advertise. Do you feel anything in your community in terms of which way this race is going?
Adam, or Mayor Gillum is on a really good trajectory right now. He's getting some very good results. I also have observed that in our area, he is probably the most organized campaign that we have seen as far as visits and seeing work. I've noticed that he has teams out at all of the early voting sites, and they're very, as Frank says, very organized and very together. I have learned, though, you know, Wendy's talking about guys that do this for a living. And what I have taken from that is they're wrong as many times as they are right. And what I tell people is don't make your predictions. Let's again, I'll go back to what Frank said. The boots on the ground over this last weekend is probably going to make an impact.
Wendy, if Mayor Gillum is surging right now, is it too little, too late?
It's not as much as he would like to have, and it's pretty late. He's got a weekend, he's got the last weekend to make up what looks like probably double digits. Gwen Graham has been showing pretty consistently at mid-20s or mid to upper 20s, and the surge that's been detected for Gillum shows him moving up from about 10 to about 15. He's still got pretty far to go. 650 grand is a nice chunk of money, but it's not enough for a saturation ad buy statewide, even for a weekend.
Okay, let's talk about President Trump's really bad, not really good, terrible, awful week. Frank, you saw what happened in court this week with Manafort and Cohen. Today, as I made reference to, the president's chief financial officer of the Trump organization was given immunity from prosecution. I know that many Republicans like what the president has done in terms of policy, but how do you look at everything that's going on right now in terms of the distraction to the country and the questions about what he did, not only when it comes to the Russia investigation, but to everything else?
The Russian investigations brought up nothing, okay?
Well, you don't know that, because you don't know what
they would have had more than this out.
Well, hold on. Hold on 1 second. Because as somebody who has covered the courts for a great many years, prosecutors don't update the public in terms of what they have on evidence until they go to the trial or make an indictment. So let's leave that there.
Okay. First of all, Manafort, take him to the side because it means nothing to the campaign. Okay, whether you want to say it was a bad pick or whatever, fine. Has nothing to do with the campaign. Cohen, if I was a lawyer, I'd destroy him in court. If he had anything to say, the man's lied once, he's going to lie twice. There's nothing he's saying. It could be impeachment or anything else. Okay, when the president was elected, we knew he was not a Boy Scout. He's gone a little further than that, too. He's going the same route that Clinton did.
So at what point does this bother good, loyal Republicans?
It would bother him if the economy was hitting it, okay? If the economy was going down, if we had no chances on anything else, but even with the tariffs that he's talking about, the EU's been moving back on that. Mexico moved back on that. He may just win this. Now, you know that I've always been a free market person. However, this gamble may just come off, and that's what everyone's waiting to see.
Wendy, is that what everybody's waiting to see?
Well, it's part of what people are waiting to see, and it will make some difference. You had to laugh when you heard Trump say in the Fox and Friends interview, if you impeach me, the market will crash and everyone will be poor. I mean, this is a mob kneecapper looking at us and saying, nice economy you got there, be ashamed if something happened to it. That's probably the thing that he can most cling to as things get bad and worse. and they do seem to be getting a bit worse. It starts to look this week a little bit like a circle closing in around him.
Go ahead.
It's a consensus, I think, that he did have a not very good, pretty bad week. And yet he doesn't seem to acknowledge that. It hasn't sunk in with the president. And, you know, I'm a fan of a progressive economy. I want to see the economy make a lot of progress. I want to see my investments do well. But I think this is getting to be an old refrain. You know, what is our price? Are we willing to sell out our history and our future to have a couple of good months in a 401k? You know, everybody's got their price. That's not going to be ours.
Only a few seconds left. I got to ask you this question.
Sure.
The president was asked this week by Fox and Friends to give himself a grade. Mm-hmm. What grade would you give him so far?
At this point, depend. You can't give one. Okay, for the economy, I would
just
say
all together.
All together, right now the way it's standing, maybe a B.
Can I give him an F?
Okay. Well, he's giving himself an A+.
Well, would you expect less? Any politician's going to do that? Come on.
We are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on The Week in Washington will continue after a break.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with the family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, fishing, or biking and hiking. Or play the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy the flavors of the Black Belt. Book your adventure at our lodges or stay in the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
Another pair of satisfied emotions. Looks to me like elation and maybe some amazement. It's part of the Honda Summer Spectacular Event experience. You could say satisfaction comes standard here, just like the Honda Accord comes standard with a luxurious, roomy interior. All at the Honda Summer Spectacular Event.
We see it all the time.
Visit your local Honda dealer and test drive the Honda Accord, 2018's North American Car of the Year.
I work hard all day, and this is why. But taking care of my money has never been easy. Brinks knows what's valuable to me, making it easy to keep track of my money and pay my bills on time.
Here's to the strong, to the dependable, to the trusted. Your family counts on you. Who can you count on? The Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. With direct deposit, you can get your paycheck or government payments up to 2 days faster.
I don't have time to wait for a paycheck, cash it, and then run around and pay bills. Brinks knows what's valuable to me. Time.
Call now or go online to get your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. There's no cost to order and no credit check. Load money onto your card and then shop online, pay bills, buy groceries.
I get a text alert every time our card is used, so we always know our balance.
And we're protected from unauthorized transactions. Brinks gives us peace of mind.
With Brinks, you can conveniently manage your money online and with the mobile app.
I get cash back on everyday purchases. Brinks knows what's valuable to me, saving money.
Call now or go online to get your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. There's no credit check and no cost to order. And with a qualifying direct deposit, we'll upgrade you to Brinks Preferred with extra benefits, including a savings account with up to a 5% annual percentage yield. And in this TV-only offer, personalize your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard with your photo for added security. Get paid faster with the Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. Manage your money on the go, anywhere, and get the peace of mind you deserve. Brinks knows what's valuable to you. Call right now to order your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard.
Call 1-800-290-8144.
There's no cost to order. Call now.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing The Week in Washington, and joining us is the political correspondent of the Tampa Bay Times, William March, the Manatee Democratic Chair, Cheryl Wilson, and Frank Patty of the Sarasota Republican Party. Another storyline from this week is the president's ongoing dissatisfaction with his own Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, leading to some speculation, including Lindsey Graham saying that he would not be surprised if the Attorney General would be fired after the midterm elections. Frank, number one, should the Attorney General be fired?
I think he should be. I don't think they get along. He has to have an attorney general that he trusts, he believes in, and the confidence between the two of them is shot.
Let me ask you this question. Up until now, the Senate has told the president we are in no mood to try to replace him. But what would happen to the Mueller investigation if you get an attorney general who is not recused, who is in a position to tell Mueller what he can do and what he can't do?
What will happen is he won't get approved. That's the first step. He won't get approved. That would not be a good scenario. But I don't like the setup that was left there after Obama left and the people in charge. They should have been gone day one.
Cheryl, are you concerned what could happen if Jeff Sessions is somehow fired and replaced?
Well, again, I'm going to agree with Frank. I don't think that the United States Senate would approve a nominee that President Trump made under those conditions. But what I also can't get away from is the fact that, or the implication that President Trump appointed Jeff Sessions because he thought he would be with him on the Russia investigation. He was a big supporter, one of his first supporters. So he was appointed to protect Donald Trump, not to do the duties of the Attorney General of the United States.
Wendy, do you get any sense that folks around here are changing their opinions in terms of how seriously that they take the Russian investigation? I did notice new polls out this week that in the last couple of weeks, Mueller's approval rating has gone up by something like 10 points.
It's really very difficult for me to say on that. Republicans, congressional Republicans, went into hiding this week when I heard a PBS radio panel show where they said they asked 42 congressional Republicans to be on the show to talk about it, and none of them would. Republicans will come out on this on the day that they believe that siding against Trump will help them get reelected as opposed to hurting them in reelection. You'll see a sea change. As of now, it's very difficult for me to see which way the Trump base is going, is reacting.
We have to take a quick break. Our final thoughts are just in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert weather from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Alan, thanks. We are in a delay now at the Venice football game as a result of some lightning nearby, and Lakewood Ranch webcam showing light rain across much of North Sarasota County. So Cardinal Mooney playing right now. Riverview looks to be okay, and Booker as well. Some light rainfall around, and not a lot of lightning over north portions of Sarasota County or into Manatee County at this hour. What's happened is that we're getting a return to our normal pattern. Afternoon and evening storms are really firing up now in the East Coast breeze, making it all the way over to the West Coast, and those are enhancing the storms, especially into Charlotte Harbor and into Charlotte County. That's the lightning right now that's causing the problems in the Venice game. Also lightning up near Tampa. Light rain mainly along I-75 throughout Manatee and Hillsborough County now, with the heaviest storms well west, pushing toward the west. You'll notice the rain is scattered about light throughout portions of Manatee, through Parrish, Lorain, also down into Tatum, into Sarasota County. Sarasota as well, getting some light rainfall. Some of this may not even be reaching the ground. Now, the lightning detection is showing it well off into eastern and central portions of Manatee County, and to the north now along Tampa Bay, stretching up into Pinellas. And you can see not much going on in Siesta Key as far as lightning, but there could be some rain, light rain. And now Venice here with the bigger storms well down to the south now. Into Punta Gorda, it's raining heavy near Northport as well, and Inglewood. You see the general motion. It had been trying to move to the northwest, but the outflow from the heavier storms in Manatee County is kind of suppressing it now. So it's staying more on a west to southwesterly course as far as that rainfall goes. So Venice from the lightning detection showing about 13 miles away from that at this point. We'll see and keep a watch on it as it makes its way off into the Gulf later on tonight, where it will eventually dissipate by midnight. And then we'll see a return of those afternoon and evening storms throughout the day on Saturday, with the sea breeze developing the east coast, making it all the way over to the west coast and really firing up. Some big storms in the afternoon and evening. Could get some heavy rainfall too. There'll be relatively slow movers, 5 to 10 miles an hour, and that will produce some rainfall up to 2 inches in some areas, which could cause some localized street flooding. Sunday, same story. Showers and storms scattered about in the afternoon and evening. Some of those too will be pretty strong at times. Well, good news on Lane in Hawaii. The storm is really getting ripped apart. It had been a 5 just within the past 48 hours. It's now down to a Category 1. That's a huge difference in terms of damage potential with the storm. On top of that, it's not looking very healthy at all. As we move through time, you can see it's being sheared apart. The low-level circulation is exposed for the most part to that strong wind coming out of the southwest. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to experience big problems. They already are, with mudslides and also flash flooding, especially in the Big Island now. And we're looking for additional rainfall there as it's slow moving off to the northwest, but a real good sign on the wind, at least. Clouds around 76, some light rain at the airport, east to northeast winds at 10. For boaters, and the sea's not all that high. Sea's running 2 feet or less. We'll have a southeast wind mainly throughout most of the day, turning to the southwest in the late afternoon. Rain chances, summer-like, every day, Saturday, Sunday, right on in through Friday of next week, so get used to this lightning. It's going to be around, and it's going to be rather intense, too, it looks like. Throughout all of the work week next week. Alan will be back with his guests coming up right after this. Stick around.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments. Those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398, or visit SoClean.com today.
A home can be much more than just a house. But for some of our neighbors, home means uncertainty and isolation. At Rebuilding Together, we turn houses into homes and revitalize our communities. Because a neighborhood is more than just houses and streets. It's familiar faces and open arms. Join the movement to ensure everyone can live in a safe home and community. Become a rebuilder today.
I used to dread getting up and going to work.
I was done with the corporate grind.
I was tired of being a starving artist.
And I started looking around for a business that I believed in, and I kind of wanted to do something a little more green.
My SCORE mentor helped me take the first step.
He helped me create a business plan and helped me implement it.
They've really taught me how to think big.
SCORE helped me to make the unimaginable possible, all for free. I'm here because of SCORE.
I'm here because of SCORE.
Get your free business mentor at SCORE.org.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. And I want to talk for a moment about Senator John McCain. News today that he is stopping his treatments for brain cancer. And Frank, I know that he is a hero of yours. But at the same time, I've talked to so many Republicans around here who, despite his service to the country, do not like him is a mild way to put it.
Yeah. Well, because of some of the things he said. John McCain is a genuine American hero.
Not according to the president.
Well, according to the United States and the armed forces, he's a genuine hero. Politics aside, from what he said or did, he did great. You know, in Nam, in the prison camp, as I told you, I had dinner with the man who was next door, and he said they beat the daylights out of him. And as he passed by the cells, he said he'd raise one hand and give a thumbs up, and then they beat the daylights out of him again, and he would pass by again, and he still managed to give the thumbs up. And he wouldn't leave until his men left.
Cheryl,
sorry, that's important.
I would imagine there was not a lot in terms of policy you agreed with him on, but what do you think about his service to the country?
I have nothing but respect for John McCain. I think you have to respect his service, his valor, his courage, his resilience, his character. I appreciate that he defended Barack Obama. I appreciate that he has called out Donald Trump. I think he has called it as he believes it through his entire life in some circumstances that most of us can't imagine.
Wendy, is it odd to you that in his final years, John McCain became a controversial figure in the Republican Party?
Well, yes, it's very odd, and it's because, I mean, I think McCain had reached a point that some politicians eventually get to, where he cared more about what he thought than he cared about getting reelected or about his personal popularity. He said what he thought about Trump, and that's not something that Trump can accept.
Okay. I want to thank you all for being here tonight, but before we go, we want to share with you what some viewers had to say about last night's show on the city clerk investigation in Sarasota. The Sarasota City Commission is launching an investigation into the city's auditor and clerk. This comes after accusations surfaced that Pamela Natalini created a hostile work environment, pitted employees against each other, and used threatening behavior, resulting in workers asking for transfers or just quitting. The investigation will cost $11,000 to $35,000 for an outside investigator, but Natalini is refusing to cooperate. Sarah says with the amount of complaints her employees had brought up, she should have been let go long ago. No one should ever treat their employees the way she did. And Lisa says if she already refuses to cooperate, that should tell you something right there. If you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
Oh, look! A bouquet of lump-livered drolls.
We went to a real school to show that bullying should be history.
You monkey-elbowed pockmarks. What a bunch of beef-witted pig nuts.
On Monday, October 1st, let's all stand up for World Day of Bullying Prevention by rocking a blue shirt. Together, let's make bullying a thing of the past. Go blue and get your blue shirt at stompoutbullying.org.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
Get local news and information from the team you trust. Like ABC7 WWSB on Facebook to stay connected to the Suncoast. Watch Suncoast View weekdays at 9 a.m. on ABC7.